I took a half a bottle of pills and I drank a lot until I just kind of passed out. When these thoughts came, it wasn't because I felt like I was scared, and it wasn't because I felt like I was trying to get away. It was because it was just too much pain. I just didn't want to be around anymore, and I thought that. Yeah. I was scared. I felt negative about it. Wasn't because I felt like I was trying to get away. I was going to be a burden on my family because, in fact, there was more of a quiet, coming up here. Like I said, I recognized that actually more of our family for so long. I'm trying to just give ourselves the foundation. I've been a success. Like, there is no way that I see things moving in a different direction now. Today we are here to talk about my mental health disorder. For the past 3 years, I've struggled with bipolar depression, and today I just decided, my therapist thought it was a good idea for me to fight the pride, beat the pride, tell the world, let it out, and see how that goes. My struggle with me going to therapy so long is that I haven't figured out where exactly this whole thing has came from. In the African American community, nobody really strives to be like, okay, like, let me go get some help for this. It bothers me that we throw these descriptions for these mental health disorders out like they're just adjectives. Like, that's why mental health to me isn't taken really serious. Like, because you're sad, you're depressed, or because you have one mood swing, you can't call yourself bipolar. Like, and because you have just a slight bit of anxiety, like, you can't call that an anxiety disorder. Like, so these things aren't being hit anymore, and it's like nobody will truly really understand it until you actually are going through it. It was, I don't want to say a culture shock, because it wasn't a culture shock, but it was a life shock for me. Like, I sat at home for like 2 hours afterwards and I just stared at the papers, and I went and picked up my prescription. I stared at the bottle and I just couldn't believe it. Like, there was a depression pill with my name on it, and it just, every time I looked at it, like, I didn't want to do anything with it. Like, and I wanted to throw it in the, like, I wanted the whole thing to just go away. And it didn't. I did not want to face the fact that there's no way that somebody like me could have been depressed, because I felt like I was the life of the party. Like, I had 1 million friends. I had 1 million people that I knew that didn't really know me, or that I didn't really know. Or every time I went somewhere, somebody always knew who I was. I knew that my situation was bad, but I didn't know how bad it was until the pills didn't help. A lot of people would say they feel like zombies if you would talk to somebody on an antidepressant, and people started noticing it too much, and that was one of the moments to where I stopped taking it too. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to graduate anymore. I didn't want to finish school. I wanted to go back home and just do nothing, because nothing seemed right for me anymore. So when fall 15 hit is when my mentee actually got to college, and as soon as he got to college, it was kind of like I had already lost the ignition or the flame that I had within me or whatever, and then at some point, like, him just being him, it was like he was like a lighter to the old flame, and I ended up catching everything back. Like, so just to be able to make sure I was actually finishing out school, or just to be able to make sure that I was doing certain things because I had somebody looking up to me. And at that point, I knew that I shouldn't have taken on any more responsibilities or whatever, but this one felt right. And he's like 4 years younger than I am. He's like 4 or 5 years younger than I am. So it's like, dang, well, if this kid is accepting it, like, maybe I really truly can. I don't want to feel like anybody's pity party. I don't want anybody to come to me and telling me, you'll get over it. Like, you'll fix this, you'll fix that, whatever. Like, I don't necessarily need you for that. Like, I'm trying to deal with this on my own, like, but you're kind of making it worse. I don't want it to sound the wrong way, but I just wanted to be an ordinary person. Like, and I didn't feel like I could be. And I just kept piling on task on top of task, and I just kept piling on everybody else's emotions, everybody else's happiness over mine. And it was getting to a point where it was like, you gotta stop. I didn't know until I started going to therapy that it was like, you are putting everybody else before you. I was saying yes to everybody. I was giving respect everywhere. Like I was just doing things like that without taking in regard how I felt or how my body felt. I get lazy, I get bored, I get scared, like, but I didn't have those options, or I couldn't portray those options because I just had everybody riding on me. Like everybody needed something from me or whatever. So I had to show power. I had to show this amount of strength and dominance that I just couldn't show weakness. And in doing that, I feel completely weak now. As I was helping everybody else and making sure everybody else was fine, I completely lost myself. And I lost myself doing this. And then now I just feel like as I'm trying to get myself back together now, I've lost people. And that to me was kind of like it was like a huge 180, 360 thing because it was really weird. Like I spent all of this time making sure people were okay and I lost myself. And then now that I'm trying to be okay, like I've lost so many people. My family has been my support. My family will always be my support. But for me, knowing that I have them and knowing that everything that I did for them or everything that I have done for them in the past and that I will do in the future, it's not overwritten. They're there for me. Like family is always there. How do you sit there and tell your mom that like it's not her fault or it's not nothing that she did? It's just me. It's just me. It's a problem with me. It's something you did raising me or me growing up. It was literally that I'm just not happy. I kept the main exact friendships, and it wasn't that anybody was doing me any more justice than anybody else, but it was that if I felt like you needed too much from me, I couldn't. I couldn't. I met up with my mentee and my line brother. Those two and a lot of other people are like the foundation or like my support or whatever throughout the whole thing, like the backbone of me getting through this. And talking about the suicidal attempt, the only thing I felt was anger. I was angry at myself. I was angry at the world. I was just angry at everything. I was angry because I was sad. I was sad because I was angry. There was just too much pain related to it. So I felt like at that point, the only option was to just kind of let it all go. And as I stated before, it wasn't to literally be like, this is an scapegoat, but I just had to get rid of it somehow. And it's an overbearing feeling. It's just overwhelming, and nobody understands what you're kind of going through. You can talk about it all day long, but if you don't fight it in the end, like if you don't try your hardest to fight it, it will literally consume you. I was rushed to the hospital, and then at that point was the first time that I ever had to stay at the mental health facility. I stayed, didn't feel it, and I was just kind of ashamed of myself. The attempt was just once, and I thank God now that I don't necessarily have the same thoughts or ideas, because I see things moving in a different direction now. Now, although things may get bad some days and there are worse days and there are good, is that they're not as bad as what they used to be. I work out a lot more, I eat a lot healthier, and I choose what I do and who I hang around a lot differently. Just my routine has changed, and in changing that routine, my mindset has changed so much. Fight like hell. It's okay to just kind of sit down with somebody. Like even if you don't want to talk, just sit down and watch a movie, read a book, do something that you enjoy, do something that you like. If the person's religious, pray. Like I said, morning time, evening time, bedtime, like I was praying. You have to go get help. Like there is, no matter how much pride, no matter how much strength, and no matter how much you feel like I felt like that you are the backbone, it's okay to not be okay. And sometimes you just can't talk to the only people that are around you. Like you need to be able to get it out somewhere. So go get that help. Go get up, do what you gotta do to make sure that you are seen or that you are heard in the community or whatever, so that you make sure that you're doing what's best for you. But as time goes, as you progress on, the days get lighter, the therapy sessions get lighter. You start to see a little bit more progress or things like that or whatever. You can do music therapy, art therapy, dance therapy, things like that or whatever. If your glass is empty, you cannot for anything from it. I had to learn the hard way that the jack of all trades is the master of none. I hate when somebody thinks that just because a person has a mental health disorder that they're crazy. We're not crazy, but we're not crazy. And sometimes we are sick. Like sometimes we are sick, but I guarantee you that none of us are crazy. It is an illness. It is an illness that can be treated. None of us are crazy, and we don't want to be deemed as crazy, and we don't want to be deemed as your pity party either. There's a Facebook page, and it's like daily quotes. It's like daily quotes of God. So it's like day number 260 whatever out of 365. And there's a different one for every day. And the one that I caught one day was that no matter how much pain you're going through, there is a reason for your life. And when I saw that, it literally was like, you know how sometimes you're in church and you're like, oh, that was meant for me. Like that sermon's meant for me. Like, so, so I grabbed that and I caught a hold of it, and it's just kind of kept me since then. It's kept me.
Go ahead and call me a coward, say that I'm not strong because I'm not like you. Go ahead and call me crazy because I live in a maze. Tell me, how about you? I think I live in my head. Sometimes I think that I'm dead. I hide behind my youth. No, I've been losing my mind and I'm a little behind. Step aside my shoes.
Be there for me. Walk through with me. Like I'm not asking you to hold my hand, but if I'm falling, kind of be behind me to pick me up.